I don't know, man. I don't know if you are a rapper. I don't know if I could categorize you and your music in some respects.
I would just say, I think it's unidentified. So, you know, if it's unidentified, what does that mean? I pulled up in a UFO, so that means I'm an alien. That's all I can say.
When you think about the 2016 Soundcloud Rap Era, it definitely holds a special place in the hearts of a lot of younger hip-hop fans. If you were in your late teens to mid-20s right now, then you probably lived through it in real time. It was a time where trap music was in its peak, with artists like 21 Savage being at the forefront of the gritty and dark Atlanta trap sound, and on the opposite side of the spectrum, Lil Yachty providing fans a more happy and playful take on that same trap sound. But there's one artist who really stands out from that era, and that's Lil Uzi Vert. From 2015 up until today, Uzi's been a constant force in shaping the direction of contemporary hip-hop. Whether it was his Love is Rage series, Uzi vs. the World 1 and 2, Eternal Take projects, The Perfect Love tape, and even his collab projects, Uzi's played a pivotal role in how we perceive younger artists within hip-hop in today's day and age, as he was crucial in bringing mumble rap to the mainstream, especially during a time where old heads were having none of it. But Uzi's influence doesn't just stop with the music, as he's also made waves in the fashion world, and has a strong social media presence with going viral and pushing trends. So let's dive into Lil Uzi's career and take a look at how he's managed to stay on top for over a decade, starting off with his influences. Nowadays, it's crazy to think that back in 2016, old heads were so opposed to mumble rap, as Uzi's style was so unique, evolving trap music and pushing the limits of mumble rap. And when it comes to direct influences, Uzi's sound definitely draws from older trap legends like Lil Wayne and Gucci Mane. But he also took inspiration from more modern figures like Young Thug, Future, Speaker Knockers, and it's clear that Uzi was heavily shaped by the Atlanta trap scene of the 2010s. But honorable mention to Kanye's 808s and Heartbreaks, acting as the staple auto-tuned melodic rap record that many young mumble rappers around 2016 would have likely taken inspiration from at some point throughout their careers. But on top of older rap influences, with Uzi's philosophy surrounding music creation being grounded in the present, that colourful experimental world of the Soundcloud Rap Era in which he came up in would have also largely impacted his music, as the emotional and raw lyrics from artists such as Trippie Redd, Lil Peep, and Nav coincide with Uzi's sound, and may have played a role in inspiring him simultaneously, giving the youth something to rally behind. And outside of hip-hop, Uzi's success is largely credited from drawing inspiration from a wide spectrum of genres which have contributed to his imaginative and eccentric personality.
I think your music is very much in line with a combination of electronic dance music and hip-hop and pop music and all these things combined, and it speaks in a language that they really understand.
Can you hear the grunge in there?
Yeah, I can totally hear the emo and the grunge in there, without a doubt. Like, I know you're a Manson fan, for sure.
And Uzi's music really shows how he pulls from such a wide spectrum of genres, as you can hear the electronic dance music influence clearly on tracks like Do What I Want or You're Lost of The Perfect Love tape, with both records containing those dreamy, synth-heavy melodies. And he's not afraid to go pop either, as Paradise off of the first Love is Rage is straight up pop, and even though it's not a style he leans on often, he's still versatile enough to vocally shine on those kind of records too. And then of course you've got the grunge influence that he's always going on about, which comes out strongest in the darker emo-inspired songs like EXO Tour Life or The Way Life Goes. And across his whole discography, he's balancing energetic feel-good records with those sad, heartbreak-driven tracks. As on the brighter side, you've got songs like Sauce It Up, which is warm and upbeat, or Neon Guts with Pharrell, which is more playful and sounds out of this world, like two aliens landing on Earth just to flex. And his projects as a whole have this 2000s mixtape energy, not only being slightly narrative driven, but rather being more about the vibe he's trying to chase at the time, akin to Gucci Mane's endless run of mixtapes in the 2000s, or even Lil Wayne's Carter series, overall just being more focused on creating a recognizable personal sound.
I hear a lot of sadness in your music. That's what I hear. I hear like real yearning, man, in your music too.
You know why my music is so sad?
Why?
Because I love my songs like my children that I don't have. And once the song is over, it's over. On to the next.
And it's often his sadder, more emotional records that connect the most with people and end up doing the best commercially. And that's where his connection to grunge feels the strongest. Just like Nirvana pushed grunge and emo themes into rock mainstream back in the 90s, Uzi's made it possible for broken heart, emo-driven rap to become a dominant sound in hip-hop. And staying with the rock influences, the Pink tape definitely marked a shift from Uzi's usual music-making strategy. A lot of the tape feels inspired by longtime collaborator Playboi Carti's Whole Lotta Red, with its aggressive guitar riffs and heavy metal metal undertones, but Uzi pushed it even further by going as far to cover System of a Down's Chop Suey in the middle of the project, going all out with the rock persona and taking a huge risk of sounding unconventional to OG fans. And while his influences spring from all over the place, allowing him to constantly innovate within his music, he's also constantly developed his unique aesthetic at the same pace. When you think of Uzi, what's the first thing that comes to mind? The creative album covers, social media antics, captivating music videos, or even the energy he brings to his live shows. Throughout his career, Uzi's always found a way to visually complement his music using aesthetics to make his art more memorable and keep fans more engaged. For example, let's look at the Soundcloud era of Uzi, when he was a young, rebellious voice of the youth with whatever colored dreads he had at the time, and a plethora of piercings and face tats to go along with it. And that picture of him represents those early days, that raw energy he brought to his music and the canvas for him to eventually embrace other elements of his personality. And from that, he went into his eternal take bag, which comprised of him being abducted and performing for aliens. Legit, that era felt like stepping into a dystopian world that he created for his fans. Even the sci-fi sound effects scattered throughout the album reinforced the concept, making you feel like Uzi was really making these songs in space. And finding new ways to explore other personas and innovate has been key to his longevity, as even in 2025, Uzi's fanbase from the mid-2010s is still riding with him, because he has a way of never fully disappearing.
A big thing about you is that you never want to appear old, or you feel like old is simple.
It's not that. It's like if you allow yourself to get old, what's creative about that? Like what's old means that it was new at one time, but you allowed it to go through that process to be extinct. Like who the f? Like never, I will never ever be extinct. I will always be this. You will always remember me as this.
And if you've been following Uzi for a while, then you already know about his whimsical antics. The 20-foot stage dives, running off mid-interview with Nardwuar, and even getting a diamond implanted into his forehead. He's always doing something unpredictable, and that chaos has become a part of his brand, and in a lot of ways embodying that rockstar energy. But that wildness wasn't just Uzi alone, and rather it was a product of the culture he came up in. Think back to the 2016 XXL freshman class. Uzi, Yachty, 21 Savage, Kodak, and Denzel Curry. That cypher wasn't just iconic because of its raps, but instead it captured the rebellious aesthetic of an entire generation coming out of SoundCloud, as they collectively owned the mumble rap term and embraced being upfront, loud, and unapologetic. And then of course there's Uzi's fashion sense. When he first came up, obviously leaning into that hypebeast wave of 2016 with Comme des Garçons and Off-White Nike collabs, but as those trends started to fade, Uzi evolved too. His fashion became a reflection of his personality, pulling from anime, punk, gender fluid expression, and straight up rockstar energy.
I think it would be weird for me to really think I'm different. That's like trying. Like, I don't think I'm different. Like, I'm pretty normal. I got on pants, you got on pants. But like, the reason I choose to wear these pants is because I really enjoy fashion. And it's not really being different. It's fashion. It's totally normal.
And so, Uzi's not out here trying to be different for the sake of it, as his personality does all the work. He's so multifaceted with so many hobbies and personas to draw from that just being himself is enough to create a bond with fans. And you can even see it with the way that he turns his songs into movements, naturally crafting dances like the Futsal Shuffle, I Wanna Rock, or even Nu Patek before TikTok was running the culture. And going a bit deeper into aesthetics, switching up hairstyles for artists from the SoundCloud era often marked a pivotal change for these artists, like Playboy Carti dyeing his hair red going into the Whole Lotta Red era, or Denzel Curry shaving his head to show growth past his reckless beginnings. And Uzi's no different, from colourful dreads to wigs to the superglue rockstar look, and each phase feels like a reflection of where he's at personally, and he doesn't hold back from putting those inspirations on full display. And while his looks and antics build into the bigger picture of Uzi's career, the cultural waves he creates around it is just as important, which brings us to his legacy. Legacy's a weird one, not gonna lie, as some people might say Uzi hasn't been around long enough to see the effects of his own legacy. But if you take a step back and look at the rap scene today, his influence is everywhere. Even by just looking at that 2015 to 2018 run, Lover's Rage, Uzi vs the World, The Perfect Love Tape, Lover's Rage 2, and all the hype surrounding Eternal Take. Those projects themselves were more than enough to cement him, and if you were in high school during that time, chances are Uzi was low-key a part of the soundtrack to your life. And from that era alone, he built a ride-or-die fan base that's still here years later. And some clear proof about his cultural impact can be seen within the rage sound currently dominating underground rap. As previously mentioned, Uzi took influences from all over: emo, rock, trap, and fused them together into his own fresh style. And so artists today like Ken Carson or Destroy Lonely basically took that foundation that Uzi built and popularized it and pushed it further, with heavier bass and more energy. But even with all that influence, Uzi still doesn't really seem fazed by the fame, as he doesn't come off as super strategic and is more in the moment 24/7.
To some people, fame is like, you know, weird. Some people, fame is amazing. To me, it's like air.
It's just there.
It's no different than Pop-Tarts. Maybe one day,
You like it.
the next day it tastes nasty.
Next day it's lukewarm.
Yeah, next day it's frozen, it's perfect. You know what I mean? It's just fame. It's cool.
And the way that Uzi deals with fan reception, whether it's about his music or social media antics, really ties back to his belief that fame isn't really a big deal, as he never took offense when people clowned his feminine punk rock fits on Twitter, and he didn't feed into the conspiracies about the subtitles in the EXO Tour Life music video being about messages to the devil, instead just tuning out the noise and moving however he feels. Which, funnily enough, I feel like nowadays you see a lot of underground rappers embracing a similar sense of anonymity and not being so clout driven with starting random beefs or forcing controversy, which we saw a lot of during the 2016 Soundcloud era. When it comes to his legacy though, I think Uzi's most defining trait will always be his spontaneity and rebellion, making counterculture mainstream, as his music will always give fans an escape from everyday life, simply by embracing rebellion and doing things on his own terms. And for example, if Uzi had chased mainstream pop features just for the bag, then we probably wouldn't see him in the same light. But instead, and luckily for us, he stayed true to himself. And you can really see that authenticity within his character by looking at his relationship with Kai Cenat.
Shout out to Kai because Kai really always like support me, like always, like no matter what. Like I could be like in my worst or in my best, he's still like just ignore it. Like it's just, like I'm just like, oh yeah, he's cool. Like he really fucks with me, so I really appreciate him.
And despite whatever opinion you might have about Kai Cenat, whether you think he does enough for hip hop to be respected as a media figure or not, there's still no denying that he has a massive younger audience, which could either introduce Uzi to new fans for the first time or simply just keep him relevant in the minds of that demographic. And the fact that Uzi's tapped into things like Roblox or even Fortnite emotes, which might not directly benefit his rap career, still shows how deeply he understands the importance of staying connected to the youth. And throughout his career, Uzi's also made a lot of valuable connections, which has only made it easier for him to explore other avenues a lot easier, by being co-signed by artists like Young Thug and ASAP Mob early on. And so it's only natural that Uzi's gone on to have the career that he's had so far, by being pivotal in creating trends, the generation that he was a part of being key in influencing high-end street fashion, as well as creating wild energy at live shows. And so Uzi and his peers ultimately changed the idea of what a modern rapper could be. And yeah, it does feel like Uzi slowed down a bit recently, as his latest project might not have been the most exciting moment in his discography. But if there's one thing we know about looking at Uzi's career, is if he remains spontaneous, creative, and refuses to conform to common rapper tropes, then he'll be alright and keep inspiring the next wave of artists for years to come.